friends. What's going on? Welcome to another episode of Hello World. We are on episode 61. Wait, don't mind me. We're on episode 61. So I want to say welcome to everybody who is in the chat. Enjoy tonight as I am enjoying tonight as well. Let me tell you, I have a good story to tell you, but let me just remind everybody to like, subscribe, share, and turn on your notification bells just so you know when I come on. So yes, tonight was pretty, just dropping stuff all over the place. Tonight was pretty interesting, to say the least. Um, so I came on a little bit later than I normally would because the heck is this? What is going on? Only because I wanted to run a quick little errand. So I have no more garbage bags and I needed one. So in order for me to change my garbage for the garbage tomorrow, I needed garbage bags and I was down. This was my last one. So I definitely had to get it. And so I went to Family Dollar. It's like a local supermarket or store, convenience store, I guess you could say, in the neighborhood. And, I always find that they have some amazing deals on garbage bags and household items, name brand stuff. So I went there and let me tell you, Glad was having an amazing sale. So the sale was you can get a 13-gallon to like, I guess, 13 to whatever gallon size bag, 13 count to 47 count. So I looked and I was like, okay, I see this. And the price was $5.50. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna pick this up. And I looked and I saw Glad had a sale on the Flex drawstring, right? And then the ad also said drawstring or quick tie. So drawstring, it had 44. So I was like, bet I'm getting that. And the regular price was $10.95. So mind you, all the other prices were $6 and below. So I went to the register and Family Dollar does this trick now where you have to have the smart coupon. So basically, they force you to download their application. So you become a member. And then in order to get the coupons, that's the only way you can do it. So I was like, man, I need these garbage bags. And I'm not paying $10.25 for no bags. So I went ahead and got off the line. I downloaded the app. And even after I downloaded the app and put the phone number in, it was still not coming up. So the guy went to the back to see what the price. He was like, no, no, no. He was like, yeah, it's supposed to be 13 to 40. I was like, yeah, that's 44. So he went back there, was looking. And then he was taking a little longer than I, thought. So I went back there with him. I was like, see, it's in there. He was like, no. He was like, they're not gonna do that but I was like, it's kind of deceiving. The fact that they said the count for any Glad was 13 to 47 bags and drawstring or tie or quick tie. He was like, no, it's only for these up top. I was like, man. So not only was it not a sale, I was wrong. And I felt bad. So I guess I was one of those customers tonight. So that kind of delayed me into coming on to you guys like a little earlier than I wanted. And then I stopped at another supermarket to get some, potatoes. I got some potatoes, onion. I have garlic, but I got those things just to kind of make a meal for lunch. And this is my dinner for tonight. Some pretzels. It's healthy, right? You got your dough of some sort and a little bit of salt. I guess whatever. Oh, and so to each his own, right? So for the rest of my day, I worked. It was a nice day at work. No complaints there. Enjoyed it. Um, Jenny B thinks I was annoying her, but I just call it a little love tap, whatever. Um, so whatever. And what else? Um, so I was contemplating on whether I should go to the gym or not. And like to be honest with you, I was seriously thinking like, no, I'm not going. And then I thought about it for a little bit and I said, go. So I went to the gym, had a good time. I didn't stay very long, hence why I'm not on later. Um, but I had a good time at the gym. I communicated with a few people, had a good time with that. Did my little stretching. Let me tell you, I also did stretching. So when I first used the stretching machine, the the furthest my stretch flexibility was 60. And now, as of today, in both legs, my flexibility stretch is 100. Woohoo! So now I wanted to go to like 120, maybe to 180-degree. That'd be dope. I can't wait because I'm working on trying to get a split like when I was a kid. I used to be a ballerina, guys. Yes, I was, and a little tap dance queen. But, if you don't continue to practice the muscles that you've started working on, then you lose them. So over time, I lost my split. And the reason why I was delaying on getting my split again is because I remember the pain. Even as a kid, it was painful. So what they did as a ballerina, you would go down as far as you can, and then the teacher would just push you down as hard until your legs just popped. Oh God. I was the last person on the line to get it popped. And they're like, come on, Joy, it's your turn. I was like, mm-mm. I was literally the last person to get my legs popped. And when I did, it was painful, but I kept my stretch for a while because as a ballerina at tap, I was getting my thing on. So how were your days? Or how was your day? Talk to me. It's always nice seeing you guys. I'm gonna tell you that much. Um, I look forward to the evenings when I can come on and go, hello world, and see the chat filled with conversation. Um, I also love coming on here during the day. Let me tell you, at work, I spent like 95% of my time watching. Shout out to the few people. Shout out to NASCAR Man and shout out to Norgus. You want to show them their pages some love. I think it's NASCAR Man 3395 if I'm not mistaken, but I was watching them all day. And one of my coworkers turned around and was like, wow, I've been hearing that voice all day long. So he was on three different YouTube channels, shows. And, I just had them playing on background music pretty much. And I enjoyed them. And I love the fact that they truly don't even know me for more than a month and just can see that I'm trying my best to be as good as possible and to share and spread as much energy, good energy as possible. So I appreciate them. Run on over to their pages. Make sure you are loving them and showing them some love. Also, I need you guys to show some love to the Jenny and Joy show. We meet every single Wednesday, 2 p.m. And don't forget, as I creep up to the 60th episode, I will be doing a giveaway on the Jenny and Joy show. The only way you can possibly win whatever I give away is if you are subscribed to this channel. If you're not, then whatever. Maybe you'll just be happy for someone else who wins. So, on to tonight's topic, embarrassing moments. And I'm also going to teach you guys some new terminologies that moi, have come up with. So the first thing I want to teach you guys is the word or words, cut the tail. You wonder, what does cut the tail mean? So let's just say we're all in a crowded room, a gathering, and your stomach starts bubbling. And then you just have to let it go. Like there's nowhere else to escape. You have to let it out, right? So what you do, and I'll show you guys, um, what you do is you let it out, let the gas out, and then you cut the tail. So I'll show you how. So side view, you let the gas out, you take one arm, cut the tail. That is how you cut the tail. So how do you effectively cut the tail with no one noticing? This is what you can do. You can do something like, oh my goodness, wow, that was so funny. And then you walk away. In order for it to be effective, you have to walk away. Because depending on how noxious that fume was, you have to walk away. Embarrassing moment. I was in church one morning, and normally, just a little insider, my gas never smells unless I've eaten some rotten things, meaning a lot of junk, and it's, kind of festered up in there. So I was in church, and my stomach started bubbling, and I let it out. I let it out, and it was silent and deadly. That's another term you guys want to notice: silent yet deadly. So I let it out, and I was rocking to the song that we were singing, and I started smelling it. I was like, "Oh no!" I started smelling it, and there was somebody who was like behind me and to the right, and somebody in front of me and to the like a little bit right, but they were both like within a within a two. They were within nostrils frame. So I was just like, you know what? I don't know if they're gonna know where the origin of that smell is coming from, but I'm just gonna keep on. I couldn't cut the tail. I could not cut the tail because if I cut the tail, then they would know for sure who it was. So pretty much I just kept rocking and singing like nothing and pretended like I didn't smell anything. And I just kept going. And I was like, that's what people do to me sometimes where they let it out. Hey, Jenny B. I was just talking about you a minute ago. And I was just telling you everyone a story about cutting the tail. So pretty much I let it out. And the first thing I could think of was you, Jenny B. I have to go back and watch this from the beginning. Oh, I was thinking of you, Jenny B. Like, you didn't really miss much. I was thinking of you and how you mentioned your youngest. I'm not going to tell the whole story, but get it this way, guys. So the good thing about having kids, smaller ones, is that if you ever need to let one go, you can always blame it on the kid. And they're not going to yell at you and be like, no, I didn't, mommy, because you're mommy or your daddy. So they're not going to be like, I didn't do that. Not in public, they won't. So, oh, she said I could talk about it. So pretty much Jenny B, she let one out in a public place where it was enclosed in public. And she just turned around to her daughter and was like, why did you do that? And I just said, when I did that in church, I just thought, man, I wish I could borrow her daughter at this time. And I could just turn around and look at her like, what is wrong with you? But man, that's the first time I've been caught in a position where I could not cut the tail and I could not escape. I couldn't, because if I walked away, then I would have been guilty. Yeah, it was bad. Mine was bad. I don't know about yours. I think you said yours was bad, but mine was bad. It was really bad. It was like rotten corn and anything rotten that could have been in your stomach. Like, ooh, it was one of those, ooh, her stomach hurt. That's another term you guys can adapt to and use. So when you smell something that noxious, you can turn and be like, their stomach really must hurt. Because that was definitely bubbling up. So, best practices for cutting the tail. When you are in public events, if you're at your Christmas party, if you're at housewarming party, birthday party, bar mitzvah, christening, wherever you're at, cut the tail. Here's another one. Let's just say, yeah, Jenny's right. There's another one you can use, another word terminology you can use. It's called my stomach drop. So basically, when your stomach drops, it's pretty much when you have the sudden onset urge of just letting not gas out, but number 2 or 3. And you just have to run. And what happens sometimes is while you're in the midst of running, little pieces of gas may pop right out. Those are times where you don't need to cut the tail because you already have an objective in mind, which is to get to a toilet as fast as possible. You never cut the tail. She's a violator. So if you don't cut the tail and you're around me, I'm going to be like, ooh, what happened? Your stomach hurt? That's what I'm going to do. Or if you have small children, you can always blame them because people are more forgiving with senior citizens and children. Everybody else in between that, they're cruel. They are cruel. I don't like people basking in my gas. Like I said, 90% of the time, my gas does not smell. And Jenny B, you can definitely attest to that because it doesn't really smell unless I eat some real trash. Not even chips down my gas and it's like food wise. If I have too much food, if I have too many different kinds of food, then it can turn into something noxious. 10%. Let me think. What else is another embarrassing moment? Let's just say you're chewing gum and then you open your mouth and start to talk and the gum flies out and you're talking to someone else. Do you A, pretend like nothing happened, or B, be like, oh, I'm sorry, and pick up the gum? I probably would be the one to say, you know what? Keep the conversation going, pretend like nothing ever happened. Because more than likely, people don't want to point out like, oh, you just spit your gum out. You know? Let me think. What other things are funny? Wow. Just give me 1 second. I need to go and check on my food real quick. But give me 1 second and think about some embarrassing moments. It doesn't even have to pertain to gas or anything like that. Just embarrassing moments that you don't mind sharing. I will return in 1 moment. Yes, guys, I'm back. Sorry about that. I also got I have so many and I can't pinpoint one. Oh, please. I'm sure you can pinpoint one. I had to go and get my alkaline water. I didn't have any at all today. I just had regular water. Oh, another thing, guys, you might want to consider doing is drinking the amount of cups of water to your body weight. It'll help keep you balanced and it will also help keep you from being dehydrated. Okay, so Jenny, she says, one time she was telling someone when one of her sponsors will going to be in the studio and accidentally said Friday in the bedroom instead of an afternoon. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Some of these things, guys, you really have to be present and in the moment to really appreciate it for its full value. You know, you really have to. But I remember that story, and I think I was listening to when it actually happened. Let me tell you guys, Jenny and I have a very long history. Our history was good, it was rocky, but like now we're in a great place. And I can honestly say that I don't mind saying that it was rocky at one point because that shows that we figured things out and now we're like family, you know? And it's really hard to consider people family these days. So yes. So I've known Jenny for a long time. I can joke with her. I can get on her nerves. I like getting on her nerves. That's the thing. I don't know. Um, but let me think. What other embarrassing things? Oh, okay. So yeah. So before twerking ever existed, I was doing something around the studio and Jenny was there. Like, I'm admitting it now because we're on Hello World and we're talking about embarrassing moments, and I can't be not holding things forever. Yes, me too. So so I was dancing to some music, and then I don't know what happened, but I started twerking. And I'm telling you, this is before twerking was invented. I went down so low, I actually felt my butt cheeks spreading apart. And I I mean, it was like plop, 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 plop. And Jenny was like, "Oh my goodness." And I was like, I surprised myself. I was so embarrassed because I could not believe that I physically twerked and my butt cheeks spread apart that wide and you heard it going like it was really smacking each other like, and I'm kind of thin. So you would think my butt cheeks smacking together was impossible, but it did. It happened. So Miley did not invent twerking. It was me. And let me tell you, I had no reason to actually be dancing because there was no music. I just started going in just randomly. I mean, that was embarrassing. There's so much material we can all, I'm sure, can think of. I mean, tonight I wanted to keep it light and airy. I wanted to keep it light and airy because for the past few episodes, especially 56, 57, 58, we've been talking, and even last night, episode 60, we've been talking about some really thick things. And I don't want you guys to just get inundated with thickness all the time. So it's good to laugh. It's healthy to laugh. It's healthy to enjoy the moment. It's healthy to be open about, some of your weaknesses and some of the things that you did that you may not be proud of, that were funny, and that everybody else can enjoy. So, I mean, I don't mind sharing that. Uh, I guarantee you, if there was a reality show that it had me in it, for real, a reality show where I was actually in it, I would, speaking of reality shows, you kind of forget the camera is there a lot of the times. So if there was a reality TV show, they would have so much material, especially if Jenny was in it too. So much material. And I would be like, dang, did I really do that? So it is what it is. I remember one time I called my boss, my dad, and that was a complete accident. That was embarrassing. Or I was telling someone directions on the phone, and instead of saying, that's not a problem, I said, that's a problem. And me and the person on the phone started laughing. And it was funny. It was like, wow. I was embarrassed because that fell out when I was really trying to say something else. And I didn't want them to think like I was trying to say they're a problem, but I was really trying to say not a problem. And it just said, that's a problem, just came out. Again, there's some of these things you really have to be there in order to understand the comedy aspect of it fully. So that's my little thing. Trying to think of other embarrassing moments. Oh, no, I'm not gonna share that one because the undertone behind it wasn't that funny. Oh, but let's say this. So I miss landlines. Let me tell you why. With a landline, oh, you didn't miss anything. I was still trying to think. With a landline, you can slam your phone down. And when I was a teenager, and we used to only talk on landlines. And my friend, I would be like, hold on one second. Hold on one second. And then go, bing! That was so funny. And I mean, like, you can slam a landline down real hard and the person on the other end can hear the ding. And we used to do that to each other all the time. And also ripping each other's stockings in church. I mean, one time my stocking was ripped so bad that I had a hole from the calf all the way up to the thigh from my friend just pulling at it and tearing it. Now, mind you, we used to tear each other's stockings up. And so I'm pretty sure I did one good one on her too. A few times. And wait, let me tell you how it started. And it started from me, actually. So one day, she's having a run. She had a run in her stockings. And the run in the stocking is when, the stocking is starting to expand. The material is not holding together anymore. So I was like, oh, there's your run. And I just pulled it and it ripped her stocking wide open. Now, here's the funny part about it is once your stocking is ripped, you have to walk around. You have like one leg that's ripped, a big old hole, and the other side that's normal. And you can't, like back in those days, you couldn't walk around with your legs out. You had to have stockings on. Who remembers slips? Did anybody ever used to wear a slip underneath their skirt? I used to wear the full slip sometimes. And when I washed it, I used to iron them. Slips, man. Slips and shoulder pads, they coming back eventually. Watch. My parents were real old school. So I thank them for that too. Also, just on a sad note, I don't know if Clem is in the studio or watching, but I want to send my condolences to him and his family, and also to his brother who lost his wife today. She passed away today, so I want to send my condolences to that family. I hope that everything will be okay. And I spoke to the daughter, and she said that she lived a full life. So, guys, her legacy is going to be remembered for her living her full life and doing everything that she wanted to do. Yeah. Thanks. Maybe that's why I was annoying you today too, because I was that, and plus my sinuses were bothering me. I felt like my ears were drowning a little bit. So maybe that was a combination of why I was being the way I was. Um, Here's another embarrassing moment. So I I rarely have stomach issues, but this particular day, that was back when I was sick. I don't think I wasn't on live when I was sick like that, but I was doing videos and just putting videos once a week up. And that particular season, I was sick for like a month, and it was like my stomach wasn't right. I didn't feel good. I was feverish, but didn't have a fever. My voice was gone, everything, right? So no, that wasn't even for that. It was something else. Anyway, so I had a tummy ache, and Tums you can chew. And so I was like, okay. So my coworker was like, there was no Tums, but she had Zantac. And I was like, okay, can you chew this? She was like, yeah. And so I started chewing the Zantac, and I was like, this isn't chewing. She looked at me and was like, you're not supposed to chew it. I was like, oh, but I asked you. She was like, oh, I didn't hear you. So I was over here chewing Zantac. It was so bitter. It was so bitter. So guys, make a mental note to yourself that Zantac is not to be consumed by chewing. You just swallow it. That powder was in my mouth for like a good 10 minutes. I couldn't get it out. So yes, that was embarrassing. Yeah, the coating did taste good, so that's why I thought it was chewable. So I was like, okay. The coating of the Zantac was like a cherry type of coating. So I was like, oh, this is good. So I started crunching into it. I'm like, you really supposed to eat this? And she's like, no. That was funny. How about this, guys? Embarrassing moments, right? So what if you, and this didn't happen to me. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm serious. It didn't happen to me. But what if you're talking and your mouth is full and food flies out and hits somebody in the arm, in their plate, or whatever that they're eating? What would you do? And I'm not talking about like a little piece. I'm talking about a chunk. A chunk of food flew out of your mouth onto somebody else's table, or their arm, or in their plate that they're eating. I think I would just crawl underneath the table or excuse myself. But you know what the reality is? Most people pretend like nothing ever happened. I think if I was the recipient of that food flying on my plate, I would probably look down and be like done with the food. I'd be like, I'm done. Well, how about if you're in the bathroom and you have an upset stomach What if people walk in and like, ooh, when the smell hits them? I'm sure that's rather embarrassing. Has that ever happened to anybody? Where his stomach was so upset and she caused a reaction when the person actually walks in, when the person actually walks in the restroom? Or you know what I don't like? In the restroom, if every stall is empty and I come out of one and the person comes in and actually goes to the same stall that I was just in, I get so mad. I'm like, all these stalls that probably don't have a smell in it, you gonna walk behind me? And it's like you almost feel like, man, I wonder if they know it was me, or because there's 6 other stalls, they can't tell if someone else was in the bathroom with me or not. Ew. Jenny said when she was in the bathroom, a woman next to her kept saying, "Oh yeah," as she was peeing and passing gas. Ew. What is wrong with people? I've never experienced that before in my life. That would be the kind of thing where I would be like, well, I'm going to stay a little extra to see as I'm washing my hands who this person is, because I want to see their face and be like, oh, that's you saying, oh, yeah, pooping and farting, peeing and farting at the same time. Craziness. But it's all fun, guys, you know. Oh, yeah. What did he do? Did he fart or burp? Remind me. I think he burped. So I was going to the restroom and taking the stairs. And there was a guy coming down the stairs. And I guess I was quiet because I was just walking. I was paying attention to my phone. I'm walking. And all of a sudden I heard, burp. And I looked around. He looked at me. He was like, oh, man. It was like, that's why I guess you can't get away with doing anything. He didn't even know somebody else was in the stairway. And he just was free with his own. He was freewheeling his own life and just burped and just kept going, you know? And it was so funny because we met right at the end. So as he burped, I looked up, he looked at me, and I was just like, oh, it was nothing he could say. It was like, well, I guess I shouldn't be doing that, or whatever he said. And we just both ended up meeting at the doorway. That was funny. That was funny. How about this? If you guys ever walk up to somebody that you thought you knew or look like a person that you knew, and then you start talking to them and realize that they're not the person, that's embarrassing. I hope the crunching isn't too loud. If it is, I'm sorry, but I'm hungry. Jenny says one time when she was a teenager, she worked at a supermarket and was going up the stairs in the back room, and she looked to make sure nobody was behind and didn't see anyone, so she picked away and then looked again and someone was right behind her and she was so embarrassed. That's a shame. Like, people just appear out of nowhere sometimes, especially when you're doing the most embarrassing thing. How about when you see your crush and they're right in front of you, but when you make eye contact with them, you start to do some crazy stuff? That's embarrassing. Oh, the head was butt level, so they saw the whole insertion and removal. Ew. That's hilarious. Guys, remember to like, share, subscribe, join in the chat, call in live. We're talking about embarrassing moments on Hello World. You definitely should tune in every night. We're here between 7 and 9. That's the start time. And it's definitely a forum where we all can just be ourselves. Another supermarket story. She was working at the register in Pass Gas, and the girl who walked in floral came over and bent to pick up paper. She made it. Oh, that's hilarious. So she farted, and someone came and bent into her fart. Oh, that's embarrassing. Of course, if you didn't pass gas, she wouldn't have never came over to you. She wouldn't have never had a reason to come over to get paper bags. And that situation would not have never happened. She went over there after and said, "Could you believe that customer did with that smell?" She gave such a I wonder if she knew that smell came from you because you ain't cut the tail. Oh man. This is fun, guys. We need to laugh more. We need to enjoy each other's company on every types of level, whether it be joking around or serious, but it's definitely necessary for us to engage in each other in different ways. I'm trying to think of more embarrassing moments. I really can't think of anything right now off the top of my head. I remember when I was in grade school, we all used to go on like cool trips and stuff, and we dared each other to do things. And one of the dares was to lick the bottom of the sole of somebody's shoe, like lick it, and then like swallow it. I wasn't doing that crap. I was pretending to, but they were like, "Your tongue didn't touch." I was like, "Yes, it did." Needless to say, I will never do that again. Ew, that's disgusting. Embarrassing moments. Come on, guys, share something. I'm trying to really think too, because I'm pretty sure I can think of one that's really funny and happened recently. I don't know. At work, we have such a good time at work. We are pranking each other, joking around with each other all day. And I can't understand that it's different other places, environment, different working environments in other places where they don't do this kind of stuff. I think that makes working, that ages you so much. And so quickly. So try to always have a lighthearted side of yourself and let it show whenever and everywhere you can. But I will say, you guys have learned a few new words. My stomach dropped. That means when you're fine one moment, then the next moment, your stomach just said, dropped, and you have to run to the nearest restroom. And sometimes you may have to plug it. I've never done the run plug, but I'm sure some people may have to. Cut the tail. When you pass gas in a public place, and after you've cut the tail, you slowly glide away in a different direction so no one knows that the tail came from you. Hi, Vicky. Yes. Yes. Hey, Vicky. What's going on? So tonight, thank you for joining in, guys. Make sure you show some love to Vicky Porter's page. Yes, I see. She was one of the people that I was seeing all day today when I was watching NASCAR 3395, I believe, and also um, hip flipping mama was on too. So I was watching everybody all day. So Vicky, I saw you all day long on like five different shows. So thank you for tuning into mine. But today on Hello World, we're keeping it really light and airy, just explaining different different embarrassing moments. And I was teaching you guys what a few terminologies are. And one, I don't know if you heard it, but it's called cutting the tail. So basically, if you are in a public environment, party, bar mitzvah, whatever you want to call it, yeah, hip flipping mama. Um, she, oh, so when you're in any of those surroundings, right? Let's just say you're having coffee with a few people, you pass gas, and you really need to make an exit. So what you do to cut the tail effectively, where nobody can notice, is subtle. So let's just say you pass gas and you just slowly cut the tail. So whatever way, you can go from here, like, doing your head back and then just cutting the tail. That's the way. Pinching a loaf, yes. That's the way you cut the tail. No one will ever know that you did it, because once you cut the tail, the smell stops there and you can walk away and the group is left with, who did that? Yes. And then another terminology was called my stomach dropped. It's self-explanatory, where you find 1 second and then your stomach just completely does a 180, flipped in your stomach, whatever, and you have to go. You not only have to go, but you have to run. And then, like, sometimes I remember there was this one guy I used to know. Um, when his stomach used to drop, he'd be like, "Oh, oh, oh, oh." That was funny. He was like, "Joy, Joy, 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 I gotta go, I gotta go, I gotta." He'd be like, "Joy, Joy, 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 pull over, pull over, pull over." That was so funny. His stomach dropped often. Um, Let me think. What other words? What other terminologies have I made up in the past? Jenny B, say hello to Vicky. Um, there's too many things that were cool, embarrassing, but yet fun at the same time. Um, so yes, Vicky, episodes 56, 57, 58, and 60 were very, very, very deep topics. It ranged from talking about suicide to, you know, planning your life and you're following your dreams. So I wanted to make sure it was a little light today, because, life is supposed to be filled with serious and balanced off with fun. This is how we keep young. This is how we keep fresh. This is how we keep just life, enjoying life, when you can just laugh at yourself sometimes and just laugh at the different things that you hear and see that just may not make sense, So it is what it is, right? Um, and then also, you talked about, like, if you're chewing gum and you start talking to someone and the gum falls out. If you were the person that saw the gum fall out, would you make a notice? Would you, like, look like you noticed, or would you pretend like you didn't? I think a lot of people just pretend like they didn't see anything. So I don't know. Just in case you're wondering what I'm drinking, it's not just water as well, it's alkaline water. And to alkaline your water, all you have to do is put a lime in there and let it ferment in your 1 gallon water. And that's alkaline now. So, what alkaline water does is help takes the mucus out of your body and all of that good stuff. A story of a life this year. I have a horrendous bacterial infection in my intestines. No joke. Oh, When your stomach drops, you better close the restroom door. That you and Jenny B have something in common. And I'm sorry to hear about your stomach issues. I do hope that you get relief soon, and maybe you might want to consider not only the traditional, but maybe some alternative routes too that may help. If you look in the description below, there is a video called Our Lives Seen Through My Eyes. I consider him a herbalist, but he knows different remedies that can help with different things that will help heal the body. So you might want to consider just at least observing. You don't have to necessarily do what he says, but just kind of, have other things to think about. I think in life we do need to have an open mind about things, and just because you hear or see things doesn't mean that you have to keep it and make it your own. But at least you're becoming more knowledgeable about different things in life. And what's life if you don't have any type of knowledge about your surroundings, about um, cultures, about anything, right? So you never know. Probiotics, good. Um, mm, Black seed oil is good too. Just to throw that out there. So this finger right here, I used to play softball in high school, and I'm very competitive, so they say, but yes, I am. Um, and I was in the outfield, and the ball came, and instead of using my glove, I caught the ball. Actually, I didn't catch it all the way, but the ball caught barehanded, and this finger went all the way back. So I never paid attention to it. I never, did whatever proper things I needed to do to make it better. So I recently, this past winter, I make the t-shirts that I sell, and I made a whole bunch of t-shirts. And to make it, you would have to, press down a lot. So this finger became inflamed, and then I ran into someone else's channel on YouTube who was talking about how, we need to go through normal detoxes with our body. And this finger has always swelled up, especially since that last moment. It swelled up. And I told him one of the things, he was like, my finger keeps getting inflamed. And he was like, okay, try the black seed oil, take 1 tablespoon 3 times a day. Black seed oil is disgusting. The disgustingest thing I've ever tasted in my life. But I will say the black seed oil removed the inflammation. And I also started seeing a little clearer. So my vision became a little clearer too. Now, have I continued taking my black seed oil like I'm supposed to? No, because the taste is horrendous. I just can't get past it. But let me tell you the benefits of taking it. I've seen some positive to it. So, you know, when I know that my finger is unbearable, I'll just drink the black seed oil. That 1 tablespoon will clear me up. And, it is what it is. My finger is hurting right now. So when I get off this live, I'll probably, indulge in 1 tablespoon and try to kill it with something else. So I guess you could take black seed oil by itself or you can put it in something. But I'm one of those people that's like, you need to go hard or go home. So I just go hard and like tasting the black seed. It's like it fills your mouth. And so like I'm taking it and I was like, oh, I think it's worse than castor oil because I've taken castor oil and it doesn't taste bad to me. But black seed oil, I don't know. But it definitely helps. Then you have fruits that can really help with lowering inflammation in the body. And because right now your intestines are just really inflamed. So different fruits can help with the inflammation. Herbs like parsley, burdock root, if you ever heard of that, you can make it as a tea and just drink burdock root tea all day long. And that will help inflammation too and calm inflammation. It helps with other things as well. Um, what else is good? Peaches are good for inflammation and taking mucus out of the body. So, just different things that I've been learning on the way. Cod liver oil, yes, I have. Anything to me, anything natural. Think about it this way. I feel like oil is like a Brillo pad. These types of oils, they're like Brillo pads. So what they do is I feel like they go through your system and just attaches to whatever things that don't need to be there and then helps you poop. So that's how I think cod liver oil is. I've heard cherries are good for you for inflammation. I haven't heard that, but it's not impossible that that could be true. I haven't heard that one yet. Um, but yeah, those things I heard for mucus, parsley, peaches, burdock root. Burdock root is good for inflammation as well. And the funny thing is, I started going to this natural health food store, and the guy was like, "Yeah, you need a liver cleanse and a blood cleanse, and to help keep your blood cleansed." He said burdock root. So burdock root, he like prepared this tea for me, like, and they were all herbs, and I would just go home and boil it myself. Oh, CBD oil, hemp. I've never tried hemp yet. I mean, I'm not impartial to it. I mean, I'm willing to try anything that's gonna be healthy for me. Why not, right? Um, yeah, burdock root, all of that stuff is really good. Um, so yeah, I'll try hemp one day just to see what it is. But I heard hemp is very good because a lot of people um, who suffer from pain take those kinds of things like hemp and all that stuff. I've even heard of hemp milk. I actually w- in Jersey City they used to have a business networking group, and I met other businesses. And there was one guy who was trying to do hemp based products, and he was trying to remove the vitamin D milk from the schools and get hemp milk in for the kids because that's healthier. Well, I watch a lot of the stuff I'm getting from Instagram. I'm not Instagram, from YouTube. If you've ever heard of Dr. Sebi, that's kind of like some of the things that I've gotten it from. And also, I've ironically also when I committed in my mind that I wanted to be healthier and to like really detox well, all of the resources started coming. So like when I made up in my mind that I wanted to detox my body and get all of the impurities from the different foods that I eat often out. Because let's face it, guys, the foods that we eat, everything that we eat has chemicals in it. Doesn't matter if it's a fruit, a vegetable, it has chemicals in it. And so, in order to balance everything out, you should be detoxing. It's just like saying, what, you don't poop? So, a detox is basically like a flush for your body. So, it's normal, it's okay. I don't know. We should like if people have specific ailments, it's good to consult with your doctor. But I've never heard of an herb making anyone more sick. Ah, think about it. But hey, you never know. Um. So yeah. But guys, I just want to say thank you for tuning in for another episode of Hello World. It's definitely great to see you guys. I am on here every single night for the past 61 days. Woo! Between 7 and 9, I make my way back from whatever I'm doing just to be here because I appreciate you guys spending a little bit of your time with me. I appreciate you sharing different things with me and us like growing together because Hello World is not just about entertaining, but we're about actually putting stuff to practice. So she has rheumatoid arthritis, fibromyalgia, yes. Hmm. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for saying cloned because that's why I stopped eating chicken and beef. I thought like it's impossible for these animals to be growing so fast for us to have so many different types of meat in the grocery store all the time. There's got to be something going on. Thank you, girl. I'm so glad you said that because I've been saying it for the longest time that they're cloning our foods. And I believe they've already cloned human beings. We'll save that for another topic because we don't want to go deep today. But yes, I really appreciate you guys being here. I'm glad that we're all on one page. Um, Hello World is here to stay. At the 100th episode, we'll be doing a giveaway on the Jenny and Joy show. Um, I really do appreciate you guys. I love you. I wish nothing but the best for the rest of your evening, for the rest of your day. May you be a little ray of sunshine for yourself and others around you. I will see you guys tomorrow between 7 and 9. Thank you again for being here. My name is Joy from Be the Difference. And hello!